Hey, how's it going, everyone? Happy Thursday. It's been a few weeks since we've done a market overview. We have been super busy over here at Nestment. Um, but today we are doing Ann Arbor, Michigan. I think everybody is pretty familiar with these market overview sessions so far. But basically, if this is your first time watching this video, we cover a different market or different city that's been interesting to co-buy groups or individuals looking to buy homes. So I believe the last one we did might have been Fort Lauderdale down in Miami. At this point, we've done everywhere from Texas to Colorado, Florida specifically, New England, New York, North Carolina has been a popular place. So we've done a ton of markets and cities in there. Make sure if you're interested in one of those cities, you check out that video on our YouTube channel. But to hop into Ann Arbor, Michigan, let me just see. Make sure I'm sharing the right screen. Ann Arbor, Michigan. So if you are planning or thinking, hey, I want to Airbnb or VRBO a home in Ann Arbor, they do allow new Airbnb, VRBO permits to be issued as long as you are in a permitted zone. So there are zoning restrictions. I left a link here in the PDF that's in the Demio. So there are certain zoning restrictions. And there's two main ones. One is if it's owner occupied. So if it's your primary home and you want to short-term rental it, you have a little more flexibility in terms of the residential zone in the city. And if it's a non-primary home or non-owner occupied, there are these non-principal zones. It's an interesting term, non-principal, but that just means like it's not your primary home. Then you're restricted to some other areas inside the city. But it's pretty straightforward in terms of STRs. I think the biggest thing, there's some links here if you want to apply and pay online, more information on how to do this through Ann Arbor. And real quick, I mean, the biggest metro area is Detroit. It's about an hour driving from Detroit. So there is an airport in Ann Arbor. I'm imagining it's a little more expensive to fly into. I don't know how many students or parents visiting students fly into Detroit then drive to Ann Arbor, but it's only about an hour. On the other side of the lake is going to be Chicago, so another massive metro. And then places like Cleveland, not too far away as well. And then you go further south into Indiana, and there's some other metros. So it's pretty centrally located, decently easy to get to. And then there's some neighborhoods in Ann Arbor, Burns Park, Northside, and Everwhite that are interesting areas. And we'll get into those areas in a sec. The TLDR on investing in Ann Arbor or buying a home there, in case you don't have time to watch the entire video. It has great staying power with the University of Michigan anchoring the town, so it's not going anywhere. Modest depreciation at 3.1% per year. That's what it's projected to be over the next 5 years. And there's home options under 350K that aren't necessarily like real fixer-uppers. They look fairly nice and like move-in ready. So this makes it an enticing area if you're, kind of looking in the Midwest. You might be thinking, hey, there are a ton of students there. I want to rent to students. They're going to be there pretty much year round. From what I found and what we'll see is you can get close to breaking even in terms of your cash flow. So your revenue that you generate from renting to like a 12-month renter is going to cover your mortgage and all of your expenses and taxes and whatnot and insurance. But the STRs in Ann Arbor actually cash flow positively. So you can imagine, Michigan football is massive. Michigan sports are massive. Parents flying in to see their kids, huge. It's a huge school. So when you think about that, people wanting to rent for a weekend, a week, 2 weeks, this is looking like a pretty good town in terms of the analytics and the data that we pull into our platform. But the type of buyers who should look here, I mean, people living in Detroit and Chicago, it's easy to get to, easy to check out homes with a realtor. If I was living in any of those metros or even the ones further south in Ohio and Indiana, I would definitely be eyeing Ann Arbor. So let's take a look at Ann Arbor using our app. This is free to use. Just go to nestment.com. And I put in some filters. I put in $200,000 as our base, and I left the max open ended just because it's a small town and I wanted to see more options. The other thing I did was I sorted the listings that we're seeing by rate of return. So our rate of return metric here, it is a combination of your rental revenue you're bringing in and the equity that you're building plus appreciation is factored into that. So the rate of return is more of a holistic number. If you want to get technical in real estate terms, it's the IRR, the internal rate of return. Rate of return is just easier to consume. So we call it rate of return. If you look in Ann Arbor, this section right here, kind of near Burns Park, this is going to be your University of Michigan zone. It's pretty centrally located downtown. Campus being right here, and a lot of the students living in East Packard. So along Packard Street is like one of the main streets. So anything along here is going to be kind of a student zone. So if you're thinking, hey, I want to get a place that students are going to, rent out, like it's going to be consistent, predictable revenue, I would look in this zone over here. The only issue is there's not a lot of homes for sale in that zone. Part of me thinks that people who do own real estate there and rent to kids or students, like they haven't sold these homes because it's consistent revenue. The other interesting areas are going to be over here by the stadium. So these are all the kids that are flying in from other universities to play Michigan, and all fans from other universities. This might be a good Airbnb zone. But we'll start with maybe a listing that's kind of more in the student section from what I know of. This place is $360,000, two bed, one bath, very small, 740 square feet. But if you know anything about college kids, it's really all about having your own bedroom. So I mean, it's kind of a classic place. There's not a ton of photos. I love the paint on the outside, but it hasn't been updated. But I think that serves the home and just kind of being like a more nostalgic kind of retro feel for the area, and it looks durable. So if you're going to have students in here, you just want appliances, older things that are more durable, kind of built of that era. You can see the appreciation is projected to be 3% a year. And if you look at long-term rentals, this toggle right here, this is going to show you how much you can rent this out for per month to a long-term renter. So somebody who's staying there, like a student who's going to be there for 12 months, you can see that you can charge about $2,000 a month for this home. And your mortgage and all of your expenses are going to be about $2,500 a month. So you're gonna net out just paying $500 a month to own this cute little place for 360K in Ann Arbor, and you're just going to accumulate equity and build appreciation. So this is a really cool option. It's one of the reasons why I saved it. It looks low maintenance, like I said, durable, and maybe in a student area where two students are like, hey, this is a great place, maybe they're off campus finally. There are these sections. I think this is more of like a frat sorority area. No beds, no baths listed. So these ones were hard to tell what was going on here. But I don't know. Do you want to own a house that like 10 people are going to live in? Students, especially, it's going to be a lot of maintenance. I don't know. That's a big question mark in my head. So this area, there's not a lot in that student zone. So we're going to go over here. Going to take a look at this place that I saved. Still very close to campus and very close to the stadium. And it's $379,000. Again, these places are real small because they're old. People didn't have the need for a lot of room. when these were built. So just under 1,000 square feet, but it's 3 bedrooms, which I think is the big thing when you think about college towns. Bedrooms, bedrooms, bedrooms. Students want their own bedroom. That's the biggest part of college housing. So you can see that as a traditional rental, this place brings in almost $2,500 a month because of that extra bedroom. And your monthly costs are about $2,700. You're getting slightly better projected appreciation in this area. Um, so this is another good option for long-term rentals. Again, it's not fancy, hasn't been remodeled, but durable. Like I would probably get rid of the wallpaper, but these floors, I mean, these hardwood and tile, yeah, it might not be the prettiest thing. I mean, these sinks and whatnot, but the floors look so durable, which is what I love. It's no frills, no fuss, easy plumbing, easy access to get to. Kind of a cool little patio. Yeah, cool backyard too, which could be a bonus for people or students that want that outdoor space. So here's where things get interesting. And you don't think of Ann Arbor as like short-term rental, vacation rental. But because Michigan sports are so big, there's people, students, parents, fans of all these other schools that are flying in to watch games. And then there's all these parents of Michigan students that fly in to see their kids. So as a short-term rental, this place you can charge $5,800 a month, which is awesome. And your all-in monthly costs, because your expenses are going to go up, cleaning fees and like a property manager are $4,400 a month. So you're bringing in $1,400 after you pay all your bills and your mortgage, which makes this very interesting. And it's only $380,000. I know that's still a lot of money, but when you're thinking about an investment property, it's not a ton, and you can get a 10% down loan. So this becomes interesting. I saved this other place that's $399,000. So this one's 3 beds, 2 baths, but it has more square footage, which is nice. The appreciation expected to be the same. Long-term rental, again, you're going to be out of pocket. All of your expenses are going to be out. You're going to net out to $400 a month to own this place. After you subtract, all your expenses and mortgage from your revenue. But as a short-term rental, again, almost $5,900 and about $4,600 in costs. You're bringing in $1,400 a month in cash. If you Airbnb, VRBO this place, you're going to have to make sure this is in one of those zones that does permit Airbnbs, VRBOs. I mean, this looks like college kids live here right now, to be honest. You can see it's kind of no frills, no fuss, very collegey. Like, hey, we got an old couch from one of our parents. We're putting it in here. Very college like. So I wouldn't be surprised if they are renting this out to college kids. So that's another good option. Already went over that place. Let's zoom out a bit on the city. Some of the places that are further away from kind of the college zones become interesting when you think about a short-term rental and even a long-term rental. So we'll take a look at this place that's $500,000, but 2,000 square feet. It has 4 bedrooms, which is going to be nice. You can see as a traditional rental, you're out of pocket $700 a month, or you're netting negative $700. But as a short-term rental, you can charge $8,600 for this place per month, and your costs are about $6,200. You're making $2,400 a month on top of all of your bills, all of your mortgage being covered. Like Ann Arbor's kind of a sneaky, great place for short-term rentals. Again, you're going to want to make sure that that's in that zone that's permitted. But yeah, I think the key is University of Michigan just being such a draw for parents, for other students that go to different schools, that people want to come here pretty much year round. So let's take a look at this place. 1,800 square feet, which is way bigger than those other spots. 4 beds. Let's look at it as a short-term rental. Again, this place is bringing in $8,600 a month, about $6,000 in expenses. This place is looking real great. I almost wishing that I lived in Detroit or Chicago and could actually come out here with like an agent easily to see some of these places in person. Again, as a short-term rental, like this might be college occupied right now. You might need to put some work into it to make sure that it stands out. Like these blinds look pretty old. Um, you know, Short-term rental people are going to expect, some nicer comforts, some nicer amenities. So you're going to have to think about putting some money into those places too. Um, yeah, let's take a look in this north side area. There is a north campus to Michigan, to University of Michigan. I don't know much about it, but let's explore and look at some of these homes. I kind of want one that's a little more eye-catching. I don't know if that exists in this north side area or if they're all kind of the uh, same sort of era. These places are more modern looking, but in a price range that's not ideal, over $1 million. Let's look at this place for 435K and see what the metrics say. This place looks nice, well manicured, definitely older, that more durable look. Um, I mean, these U couches scream college to me, so I don't know if college kids live here or have lived here in the past. Um, but it looks like it hasn't been updated in quite a while. So maybe it was rented out to students. Um, let's take a look at it as a short-term rental. Yeah, this area that's further away from the main campus and the football stadium, you can see that it's projected to bring in $4,400 a month as an Airbnb, but the monthly cost is $4,200 a month. So you're not making as much money when you go to this north side and you start getting away from kind of where the stadium is. So keep that in mind when you're thinking about Ann Arbor. Is closer to downtown, closer to the stadium, this zone right here is probably going to be a better bet than going north of, I'm curious what river this is, the Huron River. And I just want to make sure that that assumption is kind of correct. So I'm going to click on a home, 2 bed, 2 bath. This place is actually, I can't tell if it's, oh, yeah, it has carpet. Maybe they're just good photos. Yeah, nothing's been updated in a really long time. I know from that stove and seeing it in my grandparents' place so many times. But the bedrooms look like they have. So this place looks like they put some money into it, but specific parts. It's interesting. Or they paid an agent to come in and stage with furniture that makes it look better. But let's go to short-term rental. Looks like you could rent it out for $3,600 a month. And your mortgage and expenses are going to be about $3,000 a month. So that's not bad. Um, but again, it's not like these areas that are closer to where stuff is going on with the university. Let's zoom in here to some of these clusters and see what's going on. Wow, 1.3 mil. I mean, I don't have that kind of money, but the place looks beautiful. You can poke around at that place on your own time. There are some cool buildings here. This place reminds me of like Wayne's World, um, and the house where they shoot their show in the basement. Um, Again, durable, hasn't been updated in a long time, but durability could be the key if you want to rent this to students. Um, but as a short-term rental, yeah, you can charge $8,600 a month, and your mortgage expenses are about $6,000. You're making uh, $2,700 a month after paying your mortgage and expenses. So some of these places are crazy. Again, I don't know what zone they fall in, but I am pretty impressed with the numbers. Oh, this place looks like it's been updated. Wouldn't need a lot of money. This place looks like it might be an Airbnb, just how it's staged. currently. I don't know about that room, but I wouldn't be surprised if somebody's Airbnb-ing this. Definitely get rid of those couches. And okay, maybe not. There's a kid's room here. Um, but let's take a look at it as an Airbnb. Again, same sort of metrics here for a four bed in this area. And it's only 450 grand. I know that's still a lot, but if you're looking for your first investment property, this could be a real killer area. Um, I'm just going to make sure I haven't seen any questions come through, which I haven't. And just make sure I'm sharing the correct screen. Um, but yeah, I don't know what else to say about Ann Arbor. So I'm going to stop a little bit short today. I think that if you are looking for an investment property that's not going to break the bank, that has really solid numbers and projections, and if it falls in one of those great STR zones that's acceptable, I mean, Ann Arbor is hard to beat in terms of price and those projections. Um, there's not a ton of other places where you can get these sorts of deals and confidently cash flow money every single month for not a lot of money down either. So, hey, if you're two friends in Chicago or two friends or in Detroit or in one of those cities, start to look at Ann Arbor and maybe do a road trip up there for a weekend. I've heard it's a great city. Check out some homes. But yeah, poke around more. Nestment's free to use. Our Nestimate is free to use. You just need to sign up for an account, which is free. And yeah, happy hunting out there. Looking forward to doing our next market, our next city. I don't know which one it's going to be. But if you have suggestions, please email me, mark@nestment.com. Until then, everybody, have a great week. Have a great weekend. Bye, y'all.